Last night, the air war between Russia and Ukraine reached a new level of intensity. Russia launched one of its largest aerial assaults in months. Still, it was met with a formidable defense, as Ukrainian forces successfully intercepted and destroyed an incredible 90% of the incoming drones and missiles. This defensive victory quickly turned into a powerful offensive. In a direct and calculated response, Ukraine struck back at Russia's own infrastructure, successfully targeting a major power plant and plunging 500,000 Russian citizens into darkness. Let's know the details of what's actually happening. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel to get all updates about Ukraine and Russia's war. The initial engagement began late at night. At approximately 2:15 a.m., Russian forces launched one of the most extensive aerial bombardments seen in recent months. The operation was a complex, multi-vector attack designed to overwhelm Ukrainian air defense systems. This barrage consisted of an estimated 465 one-way attack drones, mostly of the Shahed type, and a volley of 30 missiles. The missile attack was especially notable as it included high-value and difficult-to-intercept weapons, such as the K-47 M2 Kinzhal air-launched hypersonic ballistic missiles and the 9M 723 Iskander ground-launched ballistic missiles. The strategic goal was clear: damage Ukraine's energy grid. This would weaken the country's ability to support its people and its military as winter approaches. The main thrust of the Russian attack was aimed at major urban and industrial centers across Ukraine. Air raid sirens blared in the capital, Kyiv, as well as in the cities of Zaporizhzhia, Kharkiv, and Sumy. Ukrainian air defense forces were immediately thrown into a high-intensity effort to counter the incoming threats. According to preliminary reports from the Ukrainian General Staff, their air defense networks successfully intercepted and destroyed about 90% of the Russian drones and missiles. This high interception rate highlights the effectiveness of Ukraine's layered air defense system. This system combines both older Soviet-era weapons and newer technology supplied by the West. Despite this impressive interception rate, the sheer volume of the assault meant that a number of munitions still broke through the defensive shield. In the capital city of Kyiv, the impact of these strikes was considerable. Damage to critical electrical substations and distribution points caused a major power outage, leaving nearly half of the city's residents without electricity. The attacks also brought direct harm to the civilian population, with emergency services reporting at least 12 individuals injured from falling debris and shockwaves. In Zaporizhzhia, the consequences were even more severe. A missile strike on a residential area led to the death of a 7-year-old child and left another 11 civilians wounded. Similarly, in the northern city of Sumy, a dozen more people sustained injuries. This strategy of targeting civilian and dual-use energy infrastructure has been a consistent feature of Russian military operations. These attacks are believed to serve a dual purpose. First, to impose direct hardship on the civilian population in an attempt to weaken national morale, and second, to create a domino effect that could cripple Ukraine's economy and defense industry. From a Russian strategic communication standpoint, these strikes were presented in a highly sanitized way. Official Russian state media did not describe the attacks as acts of aggression, but rather as humanitarian in nature. The logic they presented was simple. By crippling Ukraine's ability to function, Moscow was bringing peace closer. In effect, they claimed they were saving Ukrainian lives by ending the war sooner. In the hours that followed, Ukraine launched a series of retaliatory operations. This response was not a single event, but a coordinated campaign that targeted a wide range of Russian vulnerabilities, from infrastructure in the capital to key military production and economic assets located over 1,000 kilometers from Ukrainian territory. The first sign of this response appeared not through conventional military action, but through an apparent act of sabotage in Moscow itself. In the Novy Vostok district, dozens of residential buildings suddenly lost both power and water. The unexpected outage trapped numerous residents in elevators, causing localized panic and confusion. Russian authorities have not yet released a definitive cause for the incident. This silence often suggests a non-accidental event that they are reluctant to publicly attribute to Ukrainian special operations or their sympathizers. This kind of unconventional attack serves two purposes. It shows Ukraine can strike anywhere, and it creates a sense of unease and uncertainty in the Russian capital. At the same time, a more conventional military strike hit the Belgorod Oblast, a region consistently targeted by Ukraine due to its role as a key logistical hub for Russian forces. This time, the main target was a major power plant essential to the region's electricity supply. The strike was successful, leaving approximately 500,000 Russians without power. In an attempt to manage public perception and downplay Ukrainian capabilities, the regional governor claimed the widespread blackout was caused by falling debris from intercepted drones, rather than a direct hit on the facility. However, he later warned about possible rolling blackouts. This suggests the damage to the power plant was serious and will cause problems for a long time. This was the third major attack on Belgorod's energy infrastructure in 2 weeks, signaling a systematic Ukrainian campaign to disrupt Russia's logistical and rear area stability. Ukraine's response also aimed at weakening Russia's own capacity for drone warfare. In Russian-occupied Donetsk, Ukrainian forces carried out a precision strike on a factory identified as a production and assembly site for Russian FPV drones, attack drones, and related munitions. Visual evidence from the aftermath shows the facility suffered catastrophic damage. It has been effectively shut down for the foreseeable future. By targeting the source of production, Ukraine aims to wear down Russia's drone capabilities before they can even be deployed to the front lines, a critical move in the ongoing technological arms race. The culminating event of the Ukrainian counterattack was an ambitious long-range strike that delivered a powerful strategic message. A Ukrainian long-range drone penetrated deep into Russian airspace, traveling approximately 1,400 kilometers to hit the Bashneft Ufa-Neftekhim oil refinery in the Republic of Bashkortostan. This facility is a major strategic asset. It represents one of Russia's largest and most important refining hubs, consisting of 3 separate plants with a combined annual output of 24 million tons. It is a cornerstone of Russia's domestic fuel supply and a critical provider of gasoline, diesel, and other petroleum products to the Russian military. The drone successfully struck its target, igniting a large fire near a crude distillation unit, which is a vital component in the initial stage of the oil refining process. The damage was significant enough to force a partial shutdown of the facility's operations. The strategic impact of this strike is huge. It proves Ukraine's long-range strike technology has advanced significantly. Now, almost no strategic target in European Russia is safe. Furthermore, each successful attack on these high-value economic targets weakens Russia's logistical chain and stretches its air defense network, which is now forced to protect an ever-expanding area. The combined economic and psychological impact of Ukraine's sustained campaign against the Russian oil industry is now becoming visible in Russian public discourse. Prominent propagandists have changed their tone. In one notable segment, commentators openly discussed demanding financial reparations not from Ukraine, but from European nations. Their argument is that seized Russian financial assets, like those frozen in Belgium through Euroclear, should be treated as a down payment on future reparations that Russia will claim. The proposed plan suggests that if European nations continue to hold these assets, Russia will add their value to its post-war claims, with one commentator suggesting Belgium and France would ultimately be forced to pay. This narrative helps shift the blame for the war's economic damage. It also shows a growing worry inside Russia about the real cost of this conflict. In conclusion, the events demonstrate a clear and dangerous cycle of escalation. Russia's large-scale attack on Ukraine's energy grid, intended to terrorize the civilian population and cripple the state, was met with a sophisticated and far-reaching Ukrainian counter-campaign. This response skillfully combined asymmetric sabotage with conventional strikes and deep penetration attacks on strategic economic targets, showcasing both tactical ingenuity and growing technological capability. The day's operations highlight that the battlefield now extends far beyond the front lines, with critical infrastructure and industrial centers on both sides having become primary targets in this war. The events of the day show how quickly the dynamics of this war can shift, with new technologies and strategies constantly emerging on the battlefield. To make sense of these complex developments, you need clear, fact-based analysis. If you value this kind of in-depth reporting, please consider supporting our channel Liking this video helps us reach a wider audience, and subscribing with notifications turned on is the best way to ensure you never miss our latest updates. We'll continue to track this conflict and bring you the stories that matter. Thank you for watching.